Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back for another Sister Wives one-on-one. This is part two. I really appreciate the fact that some of these ladies are actually finally telling us about some of the things that have gone on in the family that we are unaware of. I think normally a lot of us get tired of these one-on-ones because it's a whole bunch of the same scenes that we've already seen, a whole bunch of recaps of things that we've already seen. But in this case, we really are learning new things despite how much Suki isn't digging like we would want her to. One thing that remains to be true is I feel like we're seeing even more so how much of a douche Kody is. The way that he speaks to and about his wives is so disgusting and is so disrespectful. And yet, in some ways, some of them, and by some of them, I'm talking about Janelle and even Meri, are still protecting him. We pick up the conversation with Suki asking Janelle if her and Kody just had great sex. Janelle, we know, laughs at this. Kody says that I won't answer that because these are loving relationships that sex is just a part of. It's funny how he claims the love aspect of it when it's convenient for him, because this is the same man that told us that he was not in love with these women. This is the same man who told us he wasn't in love with Janelle and likes to always refer to himself as this physical specimen for Janelle in regards to their relationship and how they started their marriage. So why are we hearing about it being a loving relationship now that Suki has brought up sex? He reminds us yet again that Janelle asked to be in the family because she was attracted to him. Janelle agrees that there was a physical attraction. She doesn't talk about that stuff normally, but they were very, very good in that department. And we see her smirk. So apparently they were good in that department. And Suki talks about how, the making up was good. And Janelle says, yeah, the making up was good. It's always the ones that you least expect, I tell you, because I was looking like, oh, okay, Janelle, there's a little sparkle in your eye thinking about Kody. Sorry. It's just, no. Kody really thinks highly of himself. And people like Janelle have helped him. Anyways, Kody said that when he met Janelle at the restaurant that time, at that point, it had been 4 weeks since they had talked to one another, and he is just sitting there thinking about how his family is basically being dismantled, and he's trying to maintain some of it and get some of it back. Suki raises a good question to him, which is much similar to the one that he asked him about Christine. And it's like, why in this moment couldn't you say to Janelle, like, look, I want to reconcile. I love you. And he says it's because he's not in that place and that he didn't want to pursue her. This man is a walking contradiction, because here you are saying that you're not here now and y'all hadn't talked in 4 weeks and you felt betrayed. Yet in that conversation at the restaurant, you did say that you wanted to reconcile. You even said that you were willing to talk to a therapist of some sort, even though we know that you didn't have a follow through. So this to me is just another example of the bald eagle playing games, because that's what he does. Everything is a test. Everything is a game. Everything is a trick. He a lot of times does not enter situations being truly honest. He says that when he looks back at the fight that they had, that he's truly ashamed because instead of communicating well, it became about triggers. I still do not believe that a Christmas tree triggered Kody. I think what triggered Kody was that Janelle was actually being honest, and I think that he knows his wife very well. So he knew that if he was unloading her and accusing her of things that he's actually guilty of, that she would get stuck, stumble, and that the conversation would not continue. And he did what he always does. He fusses, he gets aggressive, as did Janelle in that scene, and then he walks out. I don't think he is worried. Oh, what did he say? He said, like her, he is considering if he'll lose himself by being with her or without her. I don't think he's worried about losing himself. I think that he's worried about how the loss of Janelle will affect his pockets, about how it may affect the interaction that he has with his children, and how it will affect the bird, because the bird very much so wants polygamy, and she wants the money, and she wants this show. Even though she's supposedly shy, she wants this show. Janelle says the bottom line is he never came to her and said, look, I really love you and I really want to make this work. For some reason, Suki acts surprised by this, even though we've said Janelle say the same exact thing during the season. So this isn't her first time saying it, much like how Christine said the same thing last season. So I don't know why Suki continues to act surprised by some of these statements. We've already seen it. Is Suki not watching the show? She said that she needed to co-parent and do all these things to earn Kody. Like he had all these different steps that he wanted her to take in order to gain him back. Christine then basically agrees and said it was similar, and that she felt all this different pressure to make him feel comfortable, to cook the things that he wanted to cook, to do the things that he wanted to do. It very much so became about pleasing Kody. Meri said that years ago that he found her loyal, but she doesn't think that he valued it, that when they had their issues, that he wanted her to also act a certain way, be a certain way, share certain things, do certain things. And everything that she did, she said she followed all the rules that he wanted, all the things that he requested for her, and it was enough. Meri says he was not emotionally available for her, and that made it hard for her. We saw how much Meri struggled, and listening to Meri talk, I very much so believe that when they started this show, that Kody was already done with Meri, and that he was indeed acting at that point, because there were little signs that he was done, one of which was that ring situation, okay? Kody said he chose to love Meri and to be romantic with her. She thinks that he, was head over heels with her, and that just was not his experience. So the way that Kody acted like he doted on Meri, right? And the way that he acted like he treated Meri, or the act that he was putting on for Meri and for other people, was all an illusion. And it was his way, in my opinion, of using Meri to become part of the polygamous experience, because we know that her family was very heavy in polygamy. He says that he was hanging around her family and her church group, and that's how he kind of got in there. Also, we've heard from some of the wives in the book that they saw how he treated Meri, and that's part of the reason why they wanted to become a part of the family. Even Robyn has said that she saw the way that he treated his wives, and it made her wanted to be a part of the family. So this act that Kody has admitted to doing, because I do believe that a lot of what Kody did, maybe not in the very beginning, but later on in his marriage, by the time that he got on television, was very much so an act. He did all of this to get his bird, all right? He said he did everything he could do to love her. She thinks that they were mad about each other, and that's what they acted out. His words, not mine. When that's what they acted out is said, Suki says, that's gonna hurt Meri. And Kody doesn't care. Like, she doesn't... Kody doesn't care that he's going to hurt her, because she doesn't mean anything to him. Suki points this out, and then he tries to fix it up a little bit by saying, like, we did have a romantic experience, but it was a lot of dysfunction. So Kody heard Suki's response, and he tried to clean it up. But his original statement was how he really felt. I don't think that he likes Meri, okay? Despite what he's saying, I don't think that he likes her. We then see that cringy conversation that Kody had with Meri and Robyn at Meri's house, where she was basically saying, like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move my business to Utah, and I'm going to downsize, and how Kody was responding and talking about the barn and all this other stuff. And Christine is visibly cringing by what he's saying. She's chuckling and she's cringing. Keep in mind that she's laughing because I don't think that Meri understands what this laugh is about. I don't think she was laughing at Meri. I think she was laughing at just how ridiculous he is, right? So Christine is visibly upset by what is being said by seeing this clip. Meanwhile, you have the bird and the bald eagle who are stoic. The bird who supposedly cares so much about Meri, who cries in all these different scenes with no tears, who is Meri's advocate, is sitting here watching this playback, seeing Meri's response in the confessionals, and she's not bothered by it. I don't see any tears coming. I don't see the tissue. I don't even see her making the expression for the tears to come out. She's just sitting there. Christine, meanwhile, does not even really care that much for Meri, as evident by the fact that she doesn't call or talk to her. And she's bothered by what is being said in this conversation. We then had Robyn in the clip basically saying that Meri is telling her, has told her, don't let her quit, keep fighting even when she wants to stop fighting, try to push her to fight. And Suki says, like, you know, did you expect more from Kody in that moment with that whole clip, right? Now, at first I was like, okay, Suki, you dropped the ball, because why wouldn't you ask Meri about that whole fighting thing? But later on, she did answer and ask that question. Meri says that she didn't expect more from him, but she hoped for something different. I think Meri did expect a little something. I think that she thought he would have faked a little something in front of the bird, but that's not what happened. Meri says years ago, they had a conversation about Meri holding to her commitment. She was talking about Robyn as far as the whole keeping the fight thing. So she was like, Robyn is probably getting that from that, because I did say years ago to remind me to stay committed to my vows when I'm ready to go, because I want to make sure that I'm staying true to this covenant that I made, to this commitment that I made. Meanwhile, the bird is sitting there saying that she was hoping in this moment that Kody reacted differently, because Meri at this point is very vulnerable. And that's part of the problem. Robyn wants Kody to act a certain way, even though she clearly sees that this is not what her husband wants. And we know that he's told her this, because if he's told Janelle this, I guarantee you he's told Robyn this as well. Christine says there's a disconnect there because Robyn wants Meri to stay so badly, but there's no life for her there. That her just occasionally seeing the kids here and there is not life. So she just doesn't know her motive and why she's pressuring her to stay. And I agree completely with Christine. Say what you want about Christine, but in this season of her life, Christine is being honest about the things that she's witnessed. And it's some of the same things that we're wondering. Why is Meri there? They don't include you on basic things like Easter. They barely come over your house. The only reason why they came over that time that we saw was for the purposes of filming and because you called her out on it. But regularly, you're not a part of their lives. So there is no point in her staying. She doesn't call you. She uses excuses like she's trying to figure things out with the loss of these different relationships, and that's why she doesn't call you. That's more of a reason to call you, because if she's trying to figure it out, then do you not think that maybe your sister wife was trying to figure it out too? But the bird is going to use any excuse, even though she does nothing all day, and she could have very easily picked up the phone and spoken to Meri for even 10 minutes if she really cared that much about her. But the bird does not. The bird only cares about herself, and she shows it more and more. The bird says that she understands why Christine is saying what she's saying, and she understands what she's saying, but Christine doesn't really see that Kody thinks about Meri. When Robyn says this stuff, she really believes what she's saying. She doesn't see that Kody thinks about Meri and he really considers her. He says things to Robyn like, I need to talk to her. It's been a while. Do we really believe that Kody tells Robyn this? Because I think that Robyn is a damn liar. That man has admitted to not wanting to talk to Meri. That man has admitted to lying when Meri asked him to go out on their anniversary and saying that he had to talk to you first because he was watching the children. The man gets irritated by Meri's presence. The man didn't understand why you needed to invite Meri over for the holidays. The man didn't understand why the children needed to talk to Meri more when you all said that sitting there at that breakfast nook. Like, there are so many different things that the man has shown us, the audience, that he doesn't want to deal with Meri. But the bird is going to sit here and tell us that he considers her. He considers her to be the attendant to his barn house, to watch the stuff in there. That's how he considers her. And he considers her money. So this whole he considers Meri thing, lie. Kody says that he has told Robyn that he does not feel married to Meri, and he has no desire to convince Meri to stay. Janelle feels Robyn does try to advocate for Meri, but she feels like if she was Robyn, she would not continue to put herself in the position of getting in between Meri and Kody. Suki says, do you feel like he's afraid to say to Robyn that there is no relationship there? And Janelle says, no. There's no way that he's afraid to tell Robyn that, because he's been very vocal to me that there's no hope for no relationship there. So I would think that he would be vocal to her, which goes back to it being a common thing that despite them telling us that these were 4 separate marriages, that Kody very much so intertwined relationships when he wanted to. And he pillow talked amongst the wives. And he said things about one wife to the other, even though he's sitting here trying to act like the wives used to trash talk each other to him, when he very much so trash talked the other wives to the wives. Because this is a prime example. Because here you are telling your wife that you don't want to be with your first wife, even though you know your first wife and your second wife aren't really seeing eye to eye, that they've had problems in the past, and as of now they're cordial. You're sitting here and you're talking about her, but you want us to believe that your marriages are separate and you don't do these things. Thank you, Janelle, for spilling the beans. And I don't even think Janelle realizes that she did it, because Janelle still tries to protect Kody in some instances. We saw her do it last episode when she sat there and said that Kody told her to stay, when we found out that no, Kody didn't tell you to stay. Christine did. Christine told you don't bring him anything. So Janelle, I still think Janelle's not all the way out. I'm sorry, y'all can disagree with me down below and tell me why, but I think Janelle still has one foot in. I do believe it's for monetary purposes, but I feel like it's something else there as well, because Janelle still protects Kody. You cannot sit here and tell me that all these women weren't aware that Kody had no intentions of being with Meri, because I think that they were. Because if he said that to Janelle and he's admitted to saying it to Robyn, he probably said it to Christine too. Christine said that even though he was saying that Meri still had hope, he was telling Meri that there comes a time when you have to realize that there is no hope, right? Kody says he'll always love Meri, but he can't be in love with her because she's not safe. But he doesn't want to drive the bus over her. He doesn't want to drive the bus over her, yet he's using terminology, like they often do, of words like unsafe. Finish the statement so we can determine whether or not what you're saying is facts or if it's additional BS, because that's what you guys do a lot of, is you give us BS, or you use buzzwords or triggering words or words that will have the audience trying to side with you. How was Meri unsafe for Kody? That's what I want Suki to say. You said she was unsafe, Kody. How was she unsafe? What did she do that made you feel like she wasn't a safe space? Meri asked Robyn to come over to help her talk to Kody because she speaks Kody. After all these years, Meri is still naive enough to believe that Robyn speaks Kody. Robyn says that she gets him very well. When asked if the other ladies do, she responds that they have the capacity, which is her way of saying no. So 20 plus years of marriage, and supposedly this woman understands this man more than any of his other wives did at, I think, 13 years of marriage, which is interesting to me. The Bird says he can be misunderstood because he says things without filtering them. Am I dumb? Because if you're saying everything, then that means that I'll be able to understand what you're saying because you're saying everything. You're not leaving anything out. Suki brings this up to Christine, who says, Robyn says she can speak Kody, and that's BS. That she has known Kody for 32 years, but Robyn has managed to convince the family, including Christine at some points, that she can speak Kody. I want to know what the entire hell is Kody speech, which I saw in the comment section of that video that I did that last, say what? that that some of you feel like speaking Kody equates to narcissism. Like you understand that because that's what you are as well. But she can speak Kody. I really need every last member of this family to get into some type of therapy to undo the years of torment and emotional and verbal abuse that they've experienced, and I don't want to call it a cult because I don't think that they're in a cult, but some of what they do sometimes, this branch that we're seeing, concerns me because why are y'all so naive? Like, why did y'all fall for this crap and believe what this lady was saying to you when you guys at the time when she came in were in your late 30s? Why is this a thing? Why? Or mid 30s. Some of them were in their mid 30s. Some were in the late. Either way, it wasn't like you were a 20-something-year-old by the time Robyn came into the family. You should have seen past some of this because your children even did. If we're being right, you could see, like Hunter saw through Robyn very early on. That's why Hunter is one of my faves. Okay, Christine said that she almost caught herself asking the Bird to mediate something between her and Kody, but then she had to be like, girl, you know him, you can do this, you don't need her to help. Janelle said that she doesn't need anyone to translate for her, that she's been married to Kody for a long time and they've done okay without her. They did okay before her. As far as speaking, she knows how to speak Kody, but she likes to position herself and say that she speaks Kody. And I would like to say, Janelle, why weren't you talking like this before? I wish you felt a little bit more liberated early on, because I would love for Janelle to say this in front of Robyn and in front of Kody. I wish that at some point in this one-on-one, it would become all of them on the couch, at least all the ladies on the couch, because a lot of stuff isn't being addressed because these women have managed to remain separate. The tension alone that we would feel in the room with all of them on the couch would probably make for TV gold. So now we have Janelle saying that when she makes statements like that, it pissed her off, especially when she said this to her kids in the past. We find out that Robyn even tried to interject herself concerning the children, where if they had an issue, she would tell Janelle's kids, like, if you want, I'm going to sit down with you and your father so we could talk about this. Like, these kids weren't capable of talking to their father, and the kids said that they could speak for themselves. Sad thing is that I believe that Kody feels like this was truly the Bird's way of helping, when this was really her way of causing further confusion, as well as being a part of the other wives' marriages and their children's business. Because how are you having your individual marriages? How are you being separate, as you all like to say, when you have this third party always trying to come in and supposedly mediate, even though, like, those aren't your qualifications. Stay in your lane. Even though that's not what she was doing. Meri said in the clip that the Barnes statement really hurt her. It wasn't nice. And she felt like it was unfair for him to say that. But I feel like Meri is still protecting him, because Meri should have went off more in that clip. She said he should have communicated that they weren't family. Like, seeing him say all these things, he never communicated it to her. Christine says him making that barn comment was like saying, here you are, I don't want to have a part with you, but you can go and you can live with my trash. And Christine's right, it does. We then hear Suki, because also in the clip we saw Meri mention, like, oh, you got a new ring and all that other stuff. So Suki asked the question about the ring. Let me repeat. Suki raised a question about the ring to Christine, right? So Christine says, I don't think it's my place to tell the story, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell it. Okay. Do I think Christine was wrong in telling this story? I don't know yet. Let's keep going. Kody and Meri had a wedding ring, which Meri gave him at their wedding. So at this point, we can say that he had this wedding, according to Christine, for 15 years, right? While dating Robyn, according to Meri and according to Christine, Kody melted down her ring. He saved the gold and he saved the diamonds. Meri noticed that he wasn't wearing the ring. She said something about it and he told her, I melted it down. So before he even married Robyn, he thought so little of Meri that he melted down a ring that was purchased by her without taking her feelings into consideration or talking to her about it. Yes, this is a great guy, you guys. This is the great man that TLC presented to us, and that these wives presented to us when they really left so many important things out. He said, I did not want Meri to have control over me or power over me. That's what he told Christine, that he didn't want her to have control or power over him anymore. In my opinion, if you can melt down a ring, then you don't deserve to get another ring. They shouldn't have ever got him another ring, okay? But we know that the four ladies got together and bought him another ring. We saw it on TV. He wore it for a long time, according to Christine, and then at some point, him and Robyn designed a ring together. We then see a message saying shortly after the one-on-one, Meri found out that Christine told the story about the ring. Meri is very upset about this. But if TLC really cares about Meri and her desires and her wishes, then they didn't have to show us this clip or the clip with Christine. They could have deleted the footage and kept it moving or saved it for when Meri was ready or whatever. But they did not take it out. This is not filmed before a live studio audience, so they very much so could take it out, because we've seen them not include other things about the family in the past. We've heard Kody say on live interviews, like, can you take that out? Because he's very much so probably said that to some of production before. So they could have easily left this out, but they didn't. Meri lets us know that she's beyond frustrated because she found out the story was brought up about her ring that she never shared publicly, and it's her story to tell when, where, and how she wants to. Do I feel like it's her story? Yes. But I want to know at this point what Meri was waiting on. She says somebody else took it upon themselves to tell that story, and now she's being forced to talk about it. Meri likes to talk in circles. We already know it's Christine, because later she says Christine. The whole somebody else, just say Christine told the story, okay? I don't think that Christine really took it upon herself. I think that Christine answered the question. Did Christine maybe divulge more than she should have? Yeah, but if Christine didn't do it, then will we know? No. No one tells Meri while she's saying all this that you don't have to talk about this. We've seen other times where, you know, they chose not to talk about things, but she says that it was not Christine's business to tell, and she can laugh about it all she wants. I don't know how Suki relayed this message, but I do not feel like in this moment Christine was laughing at the situation like, oh, it's so funny, he melted down her ring. I think she was laughing, as I said earlier, at how blatantly disrespectful this man is and the things that say out of his mouth. And she's probably chuckling too because she's out of it. She didn't just bring up the whole ring thing out of the air. Suki said, you know, what is it about the ring? She noticed the ring, and she said why she felt that the ring thing would be an issue. She answered the question. Okay. Meri says her hand is being forced, and now she has to tell the story. Long story short, around the time that he was with Robyn, you hear that? He was with Robyn. This came from Meri, even though Robyn tried to deny it. He was with Robyn. He decided he didn't want to wear the ring anymore. He told Meri he didn't want her to have a claim on him. He didn't think it was fair. So this was his way of doing it, by melting down the ring. It was a sign of their marriage, according to Meri, and their commitment. And he melted it down. So maybe now she can look at it and say maybe it was a symbolism, because he melted down the ring just like our relationship melted down in that moment. She is still visibly upset by this. She asked him if he wasn't going to wear the ring, could he just give it to her? And that's when he said to her, no, I melted it down because you're not going to have any claim on me. He was done with Meri before he met Robyn. He melted down the ring 7 years prior to the catfish, and she spent all that time being in a relationship with him when he didn't want to be in one with her. I'm not going to lie, I think that Meri was seeking to be out of that family before the whole catfish thing happened. And I think that the only reason why we're finding this out is because the catfish thing happened. I personally would not want to be a part of a family that encourages me to stay with a man who does not love me, because we hear all the wives saying that they saw it and all this other stuff, but none of them spoke up for her or encouraged her to leave. Not even Robyn, who she claims said it would be okay for her to go. Robyn claims that this happened before she came into the family. As I said, the other wife said that's not true. He's asked about the ring. He said he took it off because the relationships are over now, which was not the ring that Suki was talking about. But Suki in this moment did not correct him, did not ask the same question she asked Robyn, Meri, or Christine, and she dropped the ball in this moment, because I would have loved for him to admit on camera that he did that or go into a little bit of detail. But of course, that would have made Kody look bad, so Kody wasn't going to say anything about it. Meri said that she's seen the kind, giving, and happy Kody Brown, and she thought that at some point he would come back around. She said in her face that when they got married, it was eternal. So after all these years of not being there and him saying mean things to her and wanting her to go, it just hurt her, because he never said to her face, like, I don't want to be married to you. I feel like Meri still, even then, had one foot in the door. He claims that he still loves her, but I don't think he treats her like someone he loves. I look at my parents, right? My parents got divorced when I was 7, I think. 7? I think it was 7. And to this day, they still very much love each other. Do they come out and say, oh, I love you? No. But I've seen how my father has treated my mother in spite of her shortcomings. I've seen how he has supported her during health scares and all these other things, despite him being happily married to my bonus mother, who is okay with all of that, who he does not hide any of this from. I've seen my father reach out to me and be like, is your mom good? Does she need anything? I've seen during the pandemic how my father gave me all of these supplies and also gave me some and said, make sure you give these to your mother. And they've been divorced for years, because as I said, I was around 7 years old when they got divorced. That is love. What Kody does is that he barely tolerates her. He acts like he hates her. He does not love her, even though that's what he's saying. So Meri talks about how their first anniversary in Flagstaff, that she felt like there was hope, because he told her that whole thing where he's like, cheers to new beginnings. And nothing ever came of it. She said she was really, really hopeful. Nothing came of it. Then it's the next anniversary and it's the complete opposite. And then they have however many. But now we know that this last one he wants no parts of her. She said that she saw him say publicly, I don't consider myself married to Meri, and if she found someone, it wouldn't bother me. As I saw the bird watching this clip, I said the bird is going to whip his ass, because that was her first time seeing Meri's reaction to it. We see the final scene with Robyn, Kody, and Meri. And during the clip, we hear that whole pathetic place comment where Kody is promising Robyn that if they ever got into this bad space, this place where he didn't want to be with her, that he would tell her and not, string her along, basically. Which lets me know that prior to them getting married, Robyn was very much so aware that this man was already having some issues with his wives, because that's an interesting conversation to have. And then to say it in front of Meri, yeah, she knew that there were some issues. Suki wants to know, how did they get to this point? Kody says they had a private conversation where Meri basically let him know that she wants a specific love, and she wants to be loved in a way that Kody just doesn't want to give to her. He can't give to her. He's willing to fake it, but he's like, I don't want to give her what she's asking for. I still don't understand how Meri was so blind to this. Meri keeps saying that he didn't say it to her, but it was evident that he didn't want to be a part of you. He didn't even come and see you. You weren't on the rotation in Flagstaff, girl. So it was obvious that he wanted no parts of you. He said, I haven't been over to Meri's in a long time. Like, he was happy to say it. Meri says that in September 22, he said he didn't see himself married to Meri. That's when she saw it. That was her first time seeing that clip. He never said it to her. And she wanted him to say it to her publicly, despite him not wanting to, because she felt like she was owed to have that conversation on camera. Janelle says she doesn't understand what Meri was waiting for, what Meri was holding on to, because she should have left a long time ago. She said that he told me so many times that he didn't want to be with her that I thought that he told her to. And if it's true that he did it, then that's unfair. These people really didn't care about Meri, because Janelle said that like it was nothing. Oh, yeah, he told me a whole bunch of times that he didn't want to be with her. So, that's just unfair. They didn't care about Meri. Meri felt alone for a long time. There's a lot of things that Meri does that I don't like, but I very much so believe that Meri was pushed out this family before we even realized she was being pushed out. Suki said, why didn't you just pick up the phone and just call him and, have that conversation? And she said she didn't feel like her voice would be heard, but now her voice will be heard. She will be silent no longer. That's how they end it, and I hope she means it. I feel like they covered some things on this. Suki's still not digging like I want her to. And honestly, I think that at this point, this is the best that we're going to get out of Suki. She's there to appease Kody, because Tamron Hall would have never allowed for this to happen. Tamron Hall would have been calling out the tough stuff. I feel like TLC, if we're going to do this again, I would like for you to include some of the children if they're willing to film, because they seem to be more honest about certain things. And I'm not talking about Mykelti, because Mykelti still has daddy issues and very much so wants to appease Kody, and she's scraping for the bare minimum. If you've watched her Patreon recently, I've seen some clips, and it's concerning how desperate she is to, I don't know, she seems like, I don't want to say desperate. What do I want to say? I want to say that she is in such a space where she is longing to have a connection with her father that she is willing to take scraps. And she's excited about the scraps that she gets from him, because she said out of her own mouth that he wasn't nice to her like this when she was a child, which says a lot about what Christine has said in the past about how Kody has treated her children versus the other children. But you all let me know your thoughts down below. Please like the video. Please If you have not already subscribed, I am on the road to 1,000. I really want to get monetized, and every like, every comment, every subscription helps me get a little bit closer and get in that algorithm. Thank you so much for watching, whether you subscribed or not. I appreciate it because there are plenty of other creators out there on these YT streets, and you chose to sit here and listen to me. Until next time.